Manipur, cry of the oppressed. One of the 7 tiny states of northeast India, sandwiched between Bangladesh, Bhutan, China and Myanmar, Manipur is known for its idyllic natural beauty and heartwarming landscape. Verdant hills surround the Imphal Valley on all sides with meandering rivulets watering the plains of rice fields interspersed with packed clusters of human habitation. But the enchanting panorama was tarnished from early May 2023 with black plumes of houses, churches, livelihood setups including structures as huge as multi-storied malls, turning Manipur into a sore point in the eye of the world. The state, with a population of 3.7 million, was engulfed by bloody ethnic conflict between majority Meiteis and Kuki tribals from the 3rd of May evening, claiming nearly 200 lives along with dozens of women traumatized. Thousands of houses and livelihood structures of Kukis, including over 640 churches, were plundered and torched in Imphal Valley. Meitei houses and businesses in their clusters of Chudichandpur, Moray and elsewhere suffered the same fate along with over 24 temples. The result, 70,000 refugees from over 600 villages that have been emptied of their minority residents who have fled their native places amid savage killings and arson. While over 10,000 Meitei refugees from Kuki-dominant areas have found shelter in the Imphal Valley, 60,000 Kuki refugees banished from their bases, mostly in Imphal Valley, are now struggling for survival in Kuki strongholds like Chudichandpur and Kangpoki. Thousands also fled to neighboring states like Assam, Meghalaya and Mizoram, while many moved to distant cities like Bangalore, Kolkata and New Delhi, seeking refuge with their contacts. Several unresolved issues had been building up divisions on ethnic lines, including ban on non-tribals buying property in tribal area. But the trigger for the conflagration was rooted in a Manipur High Court order that endorsed the demand for inclusion of Meiteis as scheduled tribes. That would make them eligible for free education, scholarship and reservation in professional education like engineering and medicine and in government jobs on par with tribal Kukis and Nagas. Amid strong opposition to this demand from tribals, Manipur High Court ordered on the 27th of March the state government to recommend to federal government inclusion of Meitei in the scheduled tribe list within 4 weeks. In protest, the All Tribal Student Union of Manipur held protests on the 3rd of May. The violence that broke out between ethnic groups in Chudichandpur spread like wildfire across Manipur, plunging the state into orgy of violence, chaos and anarchy. The state has over 36 indigenous tribes that inhabit the hilly regions surrounding the vibrant Imphal Valley, with Kuki tribes based mostly in southern hills accounting for 16%, and Naga tribes in the northern hills accounting for over 25% of the population. The Meiteis, whose traditional indigenous faith is called Senamahism, account for 53% of population, largely concentrated in the Imphal Valley, covering 850 square miles or 2,200 square kilometers. After the Meitei king Pameba converted to Hinduism and renamed his kingdom of Kangle Pak as Manipur in early 18th century, majority of the Meiteis embraced Hinduism. This densely populated plain is home to 90% of Manipur's 3.7 million people, with tribals too migrating to the valley for business and more comfortable life. Among the 1.5 million Christians in Manipur, Catholics number only 100,000 under the Archdiocese of Imphal, comprising the entire state. under the stewardship of Archbishop Dominic Lumon since 2006. Archdiocese of Imphal is manned by 116 diocesan priests, 61 religious priests, about 360 religious nuns, and an army of zealous laity. The Catholic Church serves the people of Manipur through its 56 parishes, 44 high schools, 26 junior schools, 13 higher secondary schools, and 4 colleges, nurturing about 68,000 young students. Half a dozen social action groups, 13 community welfare centers, and 1 hospital Imphal further the social commitment of the Church to the diverse people of Manipur. Some of these Catholic parishes and institutions too have suffered the mob frenzy, causing immense damage to them. What happened at St. Paul's Parish Church and the Pastoral Training Center at Sangai Pro was repeated in most of these Catholic centers. Look at these charred images of St. Paul's Parish Church and Pastoral Training Center near Imphal Airport. Despite having numbers from all ethnic communities of Manipur like Meiteis, Nagas and Kukis, this large church was burned to ashes. At 8:30 p.m. on the 3rd of May, a mob barged in and smashed the window panes, doors, statues, crucifix, sound system and musical instruments. Though the altar was set on fire, it was promptly put off by catechist trainees living in the same campus. The final torching was carried out next afternoon. After piling the pews and smashed items, the hooligans brought cooking gas cylinders and made a bonfire inside the church. Father Isaac Honson, the parish priest, remained a mute spectator to the savagery. Look at Archbishop Lumon expressing his anguish seeing the devastation. The adjacent Pastoral Training Center with 37 lay catechists in training, besides 4 priests and 6 other staff, was attacked simultaneously. On the 3rd night of May itself, the mob rushed in and checked identity documents of each inmate and repeated it 3 more times the next day while looking for cookies, despite the priests repeating that there was no ethnic cookie at the center. The sprawling PTC too was reduced to ashes like this. But the torching was done only after its offices, priests' rooms and hostels were combed for valuables and looted. Half a dozen vans and motorbikes were not spared either. Investment of millions at the institute, sprawling structure, furniture, electronic instruments, belongings of inmates all went up in flames. Prior to that, 250 chickens and ducks, big hatchery and fish tank had been emptied leisurely. While repeated frantic calls to the police evoked no response, even the police team in the vicinity just disappeared before the mob arrived. The adjacent St. Joseph's High Secondary School too became a target of mob attack on the 5th of May. However, the inmates, including those displaced from PTC, were evacuated promptly by security personnel led by senior police officials. Though a mob entered the campus soon after evacuation, local Meitei women pleaded with them not to destroy the school, as it's the pride of the locality with over 3,000 students. The mob left only after venting their frustration on window panes and entered the principal's residence to rob the valuables. Arson attack on the Holy Redeemer Catholic Church, Kanchipur, was no different. On the 3rd evening of May, a mob gate-crashed into the Holy Redeemer Parish and Catholic School at Kanchipur near Manipur Central University. They made a bonfire of the furniture in the church, vandalized the presbytery and torched the students' hostel, besides vandalizing the school auditorium. Amid the pervasive violence, all is not lost in Manipur. When a mob reached the Sacred Heart Church at Yairipok, with a bulldozer to destroy the church. Local Meitei village leaders rushed in and turned them back. Meida Paibis, local unit Meitei women's group, even guarded the church and the high school for days, ensuring no harm was done. After practically driving out the Kukis from Imphal Valley, militant Meitei groups, enjoying impunity, launched raids of Kuki villages on the foothills and other areas. One such target was the vibrant township of Sugnu in Chandel district, nearly 2-hour drive from Imphal. The St. Joseph's Parish Church and St. Joseph High Secondary School, built in 1964, is one of the oldest Catholic churches in Manipur. After fighting between Meitei militants and the security forces, the priests and the Clarist nuns fled like the 1,000 Catholics as well as other Christians. When security forces gave up resistance, the armed militia reduced the church into a skeleton like this. The school, presbytery, community hall, students' hostel and other structures in the campus had the same fate. The nearby convent was too looted of valuables including furniture. Presently, it's occupied by the police. Rows of Christian houses and other properties were plundered and torched, reducing the area look like bombarded. No one knows if and when they could return to Sugnu. Dozens of Kuki refugees like these people were lucky to find shelter in Aizawl, mountain capital of neighboring Mizoram Hill State. The government of the Christian majority Mizoram extended generous helping hand and even allotted recently built low-budget houses as shelter to them. These refugees were thrilled mid-September when Bishop Stephen Rotluanga of Aizawl joined them in their evening rosary, comforting them. What happened in Sugnu was repeated in the attack on the St. Mary's parish of Kopibung in Southern Hills, 15 miles southeast of Imphal on the 13th of June. The entire 44 Kuki Catholic families with 280 members had to flee to forests as they could not resist the armed mob that descended on the village. While 2 women gave birth in the jungle, bigger tragedy had hit the village on the 4th of May when 2 Catholic women in their 20s working in a car wash center in Imphal were kidnapped, raped and killed. Though their bodies were found on the street following day, they still remain in mortuary 5 months later, awaiting a dignified burial. The bloodshed and anarchy in Manipur is a blot on the face of India, the largest democracy in the world with 1.43 billion people. The ethnic cleansing continues to flare up in fresh areas, while kidnap and murder of 2 Meitei students has only inflamed the ebbing tension, leading to massive Meitei street protests. The catastrophe leaves thousands languishing in relief camps across the state and outside. Thousands of children like these who should have been in school loiter around in relief camps. Infants, elderly, sick and healthy all struggle in relief camps, with over 50 displaced dying due to lack of proper and timely medical care. Blockade of crucial highway from Dimapur in Nagaland connecting Manipur and key roads to Churachandpur and other centers from Imphal on ethnic lines has only multiplied the misery of the ordinary citizens struggling for even livelihood. The internal blockade has aggravated further the suffering of the displaced, with disruption of relief distribution in remote areas amid acute shortage of essentials. It's high time to facilitate hassle-free distribution of food supplies, other essentials and medicines to far corners of Manipur. Thousands struggling for life in relief camps and those scattered in and outside the state cry out to the custodians of India.
Happy Ni, O Mary, vang liên và xiên đua, thu lê và xì hôn giang hôn. Mô này mi cầu kia đi nghìn, thuê nghẹt việt đại Amen. Happy na to na kidim hi, tàu pa pa xiên nang tom koma, nu mê dấu xia la.